Hey guys, so welcome back to another lesson with me. So previously we were looking at Intensiewe Vorm. I don't know if you remember exactly what Intensiewe Vorm is. You probably don't. So let me break it down for you. So Intensiewe Vorm, if I had to directly translate it, is intensive form. It's exactly what it says it is. It's overly exaggerating adjectives. So it is putting a word in front of an existing adjective to make it seem more descriptive, right? So if I had to translate the definition in Afrikaans, dit is byvoeglike naamwoorde waar jy dra oor wat jy voel, right? So you carry over more feelings in these adjectives. If it was just adjectives, we would be doing byvoeglike naamwoorde. But it's not adjectives. This Intensiewe Vorm, because it's just an overly exaggerating or descriptive way of describing something, right? So we're gonna do a little activity. It's not as intense. I think with each of the lessons that we go by, the activity will become a little bit more intense. I'm purely just trying to focus on the basics or the basic Intensiewe Vorms that we have so that you do grasp it a little bit. So I have 6 sentences over here. All of these have their own Intensiewe Vorm. Some of them are in the previous video, some of them are new. So we're gonna give it a gander and we're gonna see if you can figure out what will be the intensive form of some of these words. So what I think would be advisable is to underline your adjective, right? Red, green, fit is fat, maar is skinny, koud is cold, leeg is empty, right? So we have, let's start with number 1. Baie rooi is when something is very red. It is dit is bloedrooi. Okay? So if something is really red, it is blood. Let me do the translation. I'm gonna try and translate these to the best of my ability. I won't be able to translate all of them because some of them, like, they really, like, I can't. But I will try. Bloedrooi, blood red. That makes sense, right? Some of these, when I translate them, it's not gonna make sense, but I'll try to explain it so that it does make sense to the best of my ability. Okay. Now we have baie groen is. Our focus point is groen, which is green. What do you think is really green that we can put together with green to describe something that's really green? We can say gras groen. En gras groen is grass green. As green as grass. I know that's like a simile, so that makes sense. Now we're on to number 3. Number 3, that is baie vet. Baie vet is very fat is. What would you associate with obesity or like something being really fat? Because I'm like an exaggeration of fat would be obesity because you can be fat or you can be obese. So what would you associate with something that is really fat? So that is spek, vet, right? And if I had to translate it, spek actually means bacon. The reason I'm still writing this is because bacon is more specifically associated with pigs. So it could be as fat as a pig, right? I'm just putting bacon there because I'm trying to directly translate it, and like I said, I'm explaining the translation if it doesn't make sense. So bacon, spek means bacon, fat means fat, bacon fat, pig fat, as fat as a pig, basically. Awesome. Now let's move on to nummer 4. As iets baie maar is, if something is very skinny, it is. So, dit is brand maar. And if I had to directly translate it, burn, skinny. Look, this doesn't make sense at all. Brand means to be burnt, or burn. Maar means skinny. If I had to look at it, I mean, I guess burn fat. People who want to become skinny, they burn fat, so burn skinny. It's just my own logic around it. But yeah, burn fat, brand maar, very skinny. Very skinny. Okay, number 5. Baie koud is. Very cold is. Now, this should, like some of these words, you should try. What I'm trying to get out of, okay, I'll say that at the end. But what would you associate very, 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 very cold temperatures with? Ice. So what is this? Ice cold. Which means ice cold. Last one, and this is a familiar one. Baie leeg is, very empty is. Which is basically crazy empty. Right? So with some of these words, I want you to not all of them would be as easy to figure out, but you have a better shot at figuring them out when you try to relate them to things that are more associated with them. For example, blood, red. When something is really red, blood is really red. Gras groen, grass is like the greenest thing on earth. Nature, you know. So gras groen. Spek fit, I mean, you couldn't have guessed it, but you could have gone vark fit, and you know, I'm not saying it would be right if you wrote it in an exam, but to familiarize yourself with making these extreme descriptions, it would make more sense to kind of just think of something that relates to it and then put them together. Brand maar is not a good example of thinking of something and putting it together, but ice cold is yskoud. Ice cold, we associate ice, Arctic, with freezing temperatures like below 0. So if you're saying you can be cold or you can be ice cold, there's a huge difference. And then crazy empty, crazy stupid, you know, it's just a play on words and exaggeration. Now, with that being said, we've wrapped up this lesson. I do hope that describing these things and going over them the way I did help you a little bit. I feel like it is a bit more realistic to kind of break things down the way that they are and try to make sense of it. I mean, that's how we learn, right? Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me on this exercise met Intensiewe Vorm. See you guys again next time. Bye.